Hello again. I just finished another 3-mile training run preparing for my half marathon on October 27th. So I have about 15 weeks left to go. And I am learning a lot about mental endurance and getting my mind ready for this race. My goal, I just have one goal, and I want to finish the race without stopping to walk at all. I don't want to stop to walk. Even if I go super duper slow, I don't care. I just want to finish. So I think the biggest thing that I'm worried about, besides just finishing, is needing to go to the bathroom along the way, because I might take 3 hours to do this, and so I'm just wondering if I'm just gonna hold it for 3 hours or what I'm gonna do. So if anybody is a runner out there, can you let me know what people do in that situation? Like, do they just hold it, or do they stop and consider themselves proud of having finished even if they stopped to go to the bathroom? Because I would consider that stopping to take a break, and it would be really hard for me to get going again. So anyway, that's my goal. I've got about 15 weeks left to go, and I'm really working on my mental endurance, because 3 hours is a long time to be uncomfortable, and I just got to get my mind in the game. So today I listened to another podcast from Jill Angie at Not Your Average Runner, which I really, really enjoy her podcasts, and I'm listening to all the ones about quitting right now. I often like to compare running to having a natural birth. Besides running, natural birth is like the only physically difficult thing that I've ever done, and there are a lot of similarities between the two. And so for me, when I was having a natural birth, quitting meant getting an epidural. That's personal. It's not the same for every person. That might not be what someone else thinks, but for me, I had a personal goal, which is okay to have. I know there's a lot of opposition about natural childbirth, but for me, that's something I wanted to do. So I trained for it, I worked hard for it, I prepared my body for it, I prepared my mind for it, and with some good work and good luck, I managed to have 3 amazing natural childbirths. And so I'm finding that a lot of the preparation is the same for running. A lot of it is mental. And for me, quitting would be stopping to walk, which wouldn't be the same for another person. They might be okay with taking walk breaks, or they might use that as their method of doing the half marathon. But for me, quitting would be stopping to take a walk break. And so Jill, in her podcast that I listened to today, talked about 2 different types of quitting. There's the big intentional quit with a capital Q, where it's something you've given a lot of thought to, and you're not just making it in the moment. You're using a lot of different factors to help you make your decision. But then she talked about quitting in the moment, quitting with a little Q. And that's something like, oh, it's too hot today, I'm gonna just stay home, I'll run tomorrow. Oh, it feels too good in my bed right now, I'll stay in the bed and run another time. Missing one run won't hurt me. I have 15 more weeks of training left. It won't hurt. This is hard. I just don't feel like doing this right now. I don't know if I can finish. It's just really uncomfortable. Things like that, little quits. And she said, no, you're right. One little quit's not going to hurt you, but over time, once you do one little quit, it'll make it easier for you to do another little quit, and then all of a sudden, out of the 15 weeks of training runs you're supposed to have, you only completed 11 of them. So you show up to the race thinking, you know what, I am undertrained. It would be very unwise for me to continue doing this. And so at that point, your little quit's turned into a big quit, because you're right, now you are undertrained. Now it would be unwise to continue that way. Now you risk injury because you didn't do the proper amount of smaller training runs. So I really liked that. And another thing that she said that really resonated with me was that sometimes when we do a little quit, we're sacrificing our momentary comfort, or we're sacrificing our later discomfort for momentary comfort and pleasure. So like, for example, today I set my alarm for 7 and I was going to get up and go run while it was still a decent temperature outside. Well, the alarm went off and I decided, I'm going to sleep till 8. And then I laid around and I didn't actually get to the park until closer to 9:30 or 10. And so now it's super, super, super hot. I did it anyway, but I could have done it at 7 and it wouldn't have been so difficult for me. Like today, I really, really wanted to quit. Like I wasn't even 2 miles in and I just had a really hard time. And I have that momentary comfort of being able to sleep some more and stay in my bed, because being in a bed is a wonderful thing. That momentary comfort and pleasure, but then later I had to deal with the sun beating down on me, the sun making me feel really nauseous and zapping my energy and feeling really bad. So luckily I did it anyway, but there could have been a time where I just laid around until I just didn't do it, till I didn't do it at all. So then I'd have to deal with my own brain telling me things like, oh, you quit on yourself, you shouldn't have done that, you could have done it, and now you're behind, and all the things that my brain would say to me. Like, I know myself, and I would rather deal with momentary discomfort, the momentary nausea, the momentary just horrible last mile feeling, than spending the rest of the day being disappointed in myself. I don't like being disappointed in myself. So it's a trade-off that I have to make. And on some days, it's totally legit. You might be coming down with something and it would be unwise for you to run. Like yesterday, I spent the whole night at a birth and I didn't get any sleep for a long time. And so instead of coming home and going for a 3-mile run, I made the decision to come home and sleep, because I had to go to class last night too. And so rest was important, but I made up for it today. But like, if it was just like when it was winter time and it was just too cold, if I would have stayed in and been like, it's too cold, I'm gonna stay in, I would have been really disappointed in myself. And I really, really just don't want to deal with that. So that was what I learned today on my 3-mile run. In order to stay on schedule, I'm planning on doing another one tomorrow, and then I should be back on my regular schedule. But anyway, check out that podcast if you haven't, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time.